Hi, I'm Ashley and welcome to my channel. And in today's video, as you saw from the intro, is going to be a reading vlog of Full Moon Rising by Ruby Dixon. And this book just came out last month, and this was kind of a cover buy for me because I first saw it on Amazon and the cover pulled me in. And as you also saw from the intro, this book is just gorgeous. And so the cover pulled me in, and I read the description as well, and that also interested me, so I decided to buy it. And I know this author is well known for her Ice Planet Barbarians series, which I haven't read that at all, but I've heard about it. And so I did start this today, and I am currently on page 72, chapter 9. And so far I am enjoying it. I am finding it a lot of fun. And the only thing that I'm unsure about is this book is probably going to end up being really steamy, so I'm not sure how I'll feel about that, because there's already like hints towards it going in that direction, and I'm pretty sure I haven't read the Ice Planet Barbarian series, but from what I heard, I feel like that is also probably pretty steamy. And I don't mind steam, but sometimes if there's too much of it, it gets repetitive and I get kind of bored. So we'll see how this goes, but so far I am enjoying it. I'm just finding a lot of fun so far. So this book does have dual perspectives. So the first character we're introduced to is our main female character, Aspeth. And Aspeth is part of the nobility, and so she hasn't really seen much beyond her family's lands. And she is 30 years old. She is the heir of her father's lands, but the problem is that not many people know, but her family actually doesn't have much money left at all because her father is a gambler. And also in this world, the nobility and the people that have lands also have possession of these items called artifacts. And artifacts are magical items that can be very powerful. And in this world, a long time ago, people used to practice magic, but then it was outlawed. And so all that's left from these times are these magical items. So everyone is always seeking out these items. But once more, everyone thinks that Aspeth's family has a lot of strong, powerful magical artifacts, but the truth is they don't anymore. And so Aspeth is fearful of the day of when people finally find out the truth about her family, because she knows once others know that they have no money and that they have no artifacts, people are going to come and take their lands and pretty much kill her whole family. And so Aspeth feels responsible because she is going to be the heir, and so she decides that she is going to join the Artifact Guild. And so her and her lady maid Gwenna head out to the city to join the Artifact Guild, because the Artifact Guild is a guild devoted to finding rare artifacts. And so Aspeth believes that if she can find some rare magical artifacts, that will help her family's standing. However, the only problem is, once she gets there, she learns that almost everyone in the Artifact Guild is a man, and they all laugh at her when she says she wants to join, and they look down upon her for being a woman. They all pretty much laugh at her and tell her just to go home, but she refuses to give up. She ends up striking a deal with our second main character and love interest of the story, Hawk. And in this world, there aren't just humans, there are also other creatures such as minotaurs, and Hawk is a minotaur. And he is assistant to the only other lady in the guild. And so he is supposed to help her teach their students, because every year, every group in the guild, they train 5 students, and then these 5 students have to go take this test. And if they pass the test, they'll become a full-fledged member of the guild, and they'll be able to go explore ruins and find artifacts. So she ends up convincing him to take her on as a student by making a deal with him. And the deal is that he'll be her chaperone, because women need chaperone in order to even become an apprentice. And in turn, she will become his wife. And he needs a wife because he is about to go into Rut, which is Minotaur mating season. And so he needs someone to be intimate with during that time. And so then our story goes from there. So now for my thoughts. So like I said earlier, I am enjoying this. I am having fun with this so far. I'm really liking our main character, Aspeth. She's very much headstrong and determined and a go-getter, but also at the same time, you've also seen already that beneath her headstrongness, that she also has doubts and also deals with insecurities, which makes her really relatable as a character. I also have to say that I really like her lady maid and her friend Gwenna. Gwenna is 5 years younger than Aspeth, and she is just so snarky. I just love it. And I'm also liking our male love interests Hawk so far as well. He is a little bit grumpy and a little bit jaded, but he also seems like beneath that he's just nice as well. And he is also dealing with his own problems. And he is a Minotaur, and the book calls their people Taurians. And as Taurians, they are kind of looked down upon and discriminated against by humans. So he has to deal with all that, and that's pretty much the reason why he isn't a guildmaster, because of discrimination against his kind. And so he's the assistant to the only female guildmaster, but unfortunately, like, the pressure of her job has gotten to her to the point that she drinks away all her problems, and so he has pretty much had to take on her role. So now he has to teach all of their new apprentices, and he is under a lot of pressure because of that. And also, like, this is his livelihood, and if they don't have apprentices, then him and the actual guildmaster could both lose their positions and their livelihoods. So he's dealing with all that when he meets Aspeth. And their interactions have just been fun to read about so far because they are both strong-willed and headstrong, so they have already butted heads. And then the other thing about this book that I am finding very interesting is the world building. So in the guild, once you become a member of it, everyone gets a bird name, which I think is really cool. So that's why our main character, she ends up giving herself the name Sparrow, and then you have our main love interest whose name is Hawk. So I just thought that was a neat little detail. And so at the beginning of the book, we got to see one of the magical artifacts of the world, and I'm hoping we get to see more of those. And so those are all my thoughts for the moment, because I am not very far in yet, but I am very excited to read some more of this and see where the story goes from here. And then in addition to reading more of this, there is an arts and craft I want to do. I saw on Pinterest this DIY for painted wood bookmarks, and they were ones that were of the night sky, and they looked really cool. So I wanted to try to make one of those, but make it so it kind of matches the cover of this book. So at some point in this video, I want to do that as well. Hi, so it is a few days later, and I am back for a reading update for Bull Moon Rising. So I have made it to almost page 200. I'm on page 196, so I'm almost halfway through this because it's about 400 pages. And so far, I am really enjoying this so far. I'm just like having so much fun. And yes, it has been like quite steamy already so far, but I feel like the steam and the smut in here is well done so far. Like, it is that type of book where you expect there to be smut, but at the same time, it feels like it's not just thrown in there just for the sake of having it in there. And the steamy scenes that have been in this book so far do help to show the development of the relationship between Aspeth and her love interest Hawk. Because yes, this book is steamy, but it's also, I feel like, so far doing a good job balancing the steam with the other elements of the story. Like I find myself genuinely invested in the plot and seeing what is going to happen next. And I'm especially loving our main character Aspeth and her love interest Hawk. Aspeth already has my whole heart, and I just want to give her a hug because of everything that she is going through and has to deal with. And I just love her overall personality. And Hawk, the love interest, sums up her personality the best when in chapter 17 he says, "There's something so very earnest about Aspeth. It's as if she puts everything she has into whatever task she's focused upon, be it guild business or something else." And I just love that. And I love that Hawk is the one who's making this observation during his chapter perspective, because it shows that like he is really paying attention to her and that he's actually getting to know her as a person, and that shows something about his personality. Whereas Aspeth is definitely on the sunshiny side and is an optimist, Hawk is very much on the grumpy and brooding side, so their opposite temperaments complement each other really well. And then I'm also loving like all the members of Aspeth's team as well. They are all very unique and interesting to read about, and they're definitely all misfits, and it's just great getting to see them get to know each other and starting to care about each other, and I'm really getting like the sense of found family from them, and it's just so heartwarming. And one of my like favorite moments between them so far has been on page 82 when Aspeth asks one of the members of the team, Kit, who isn't human, he is what's called a slither skin in this book, and they're kind of like lizard people. And Aspeth asks him for a hug, and he kind of recoils from that. And then another member of their team, Lark, says, "You don't ask a slither skin that. It's rude. You don't touch them without invitation." And then Aspeth replies, "I asked, and I didn't mean to offend. My family doesn't hug, and I've decided that now that I'm going to be my own person, I'm going to ask for hugs. I love hugs. I want hugs every day. It's just the warmest, best feeling, but I seem to be surrounded by non-huggers." And that's just like so heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time, because she really had a childhood of like neglect. Her father didn't really deal with her. Her mother was dead. And so she hasn't really known affection in that form. And then like at the end of the scene, like they all end up sharing a group hug, and it's just so endearing and heartwarming, and even like the non-huggers of the group end up participating in the hug. And so those are all my thoughts at the moment. Like I said, I'm really enjoying this book. It's not quite at a 5-star level, but it might possibly get there. And where I ended the last chapter I read, things are about to go down, and so I'm super excited to see what's going to happen, and also a little nervous about what's going to happen. So in addition to reading more of this, I did also start the bookmark that I was talking about. I started painting that today, and it's currently drying before I can do the next step, so that will probably be the next thing I do after I finish filming this clip. And so I'll put in more footage of that, and then I'll be back probably when I finish this book with my final thoughts, unless something crazy happens and I feel the need to come on and talk about that thing. Oh no, they're in the caves and they have run into the giant spiders that are as big as your hand. Ooh, I cannot, nope. Hi, so it's now Sunday, November 17th, and I have finished Bull Moon Rising, so I am here with my final thoughts. So I ended up really enjoying this. It didn't quite give me the 5-star feeling, so I'm going to be giving it a 4.5. And this book was just a really fun read that was full of so much heart. And Allie Hazelwood on the back of this book blurbs the book. What she says exactly describes how I felt while reading this book. So I'm just going to read her little blurb. So she says, Ruby Dixon can do it all. She builds a stunning world, creates compelling, lovable characters, and then hits me with the Minotaur smut I always knew I wanted. So that's 100% how I felt while reading this book. Like, yes, there's a lot of steam in this book. It is very steamy, but it isn't all smut. And like I mentioned in my earlier update, I feel like the steamy scenes were well balanced with the rest of the story. I was genuinely invested in the plot in here and wanted to know what was going to happen, and I just loved the characters in here so much. I felt that they were all well developed and all very well fleshed out, and I especially loved our main character Aspeth and love interest Hawk, but I also loved the other characters who were in her class alongside with her. And Aspeth, along with the other members of her class who are all training to enter the guild, they very much gave me that found family feeling, and there's just so many heartwarming moments between them that I loved so much. And the last 200 pages of this book were full of action and full of steam, and I really liked how everything ended. So this book does seem like it's going to be the first book in the series, because if you look on Amazon, it says it's book 1 of the Royal Artifactual Guild. But this book, like, the ending wraps up really well, and it pretty much wraps up Aspeth and Hawk's story, so I think it's going to be one of those series where it takes place in the same world but follows a different character. And if that is the case, there is a minor character in here that I would love if she got her own book. And so yeah, those are all my thoughts on Bull Moon Rising. I was a little wary going into this because I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about all the steam, but I ended up being pleasantly surprised and I ended up really enjoying this book, so I'm super happy that I did decide to take a chance and pick it up. So if you've read this book, let me know down below what you thought of it. So let me know who your favorite character is. Mine is Gwenna. I just loved her so much. I loved her snark and I really loved her loyalty to Aspeth. And thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye!